So now we can start our session of this today's session. So let me tell the first session one, which is going to be taken by Dr. Bibhuti Bhusan Mukharjee, sir. So before starting this event, let me introduce Dr. Bibhuti Bhusan Mukharjee, sir. He is currently working as an associate professor of civil engineering at the BIJU PATNAIK University of Technology, Odisha. He has completed his PhD from IIT Kharagpur, MTech from NIT Rourkela, and BE from IGIT Sarang. So, added to his academic credit, Professor Mukherjee has discharged various administrative positions like Director Curriculum Development, Director Training and Placement at BPUT, Deputy Director Estate and Maintenance Unit, and Director Estate and Maintenance Unit, and the first appellate authority of the BPUT. Currently, Professor Mukherjee is Director of Sponsored Research Industrial Consultancy, SRIC, Professor in charge of R&D, Head of the Department of Civil Engineering, BPUT, and Warden of the Ganga Hall of Residence at BPUT. He has more than 13 years of experience in teaching and research in sustainable construction materials, nanotechnology, and nanomaterials at UG, PG, and PhD level. He has published more than 70 research papers in different SCI indexed international journals of repute, conference proceedings, and chapters in various edited books or encyclopedia. He has guided more than 60 master students and PhD scholars. Professor Mukherjee has been awarded twice the BPUT Foundation Day Research Award in 2019 and 2022. So, sir, on behalf of this organizing team, FDP, I welcome you. So, I will now hand over the session to Mukherjee, sir.
Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir? Am I
Yes, sir.
audible?
Yes,
So,
sir.
good morning to all. Honorable Vice Chancellor, BG Patna University of Technology, Professor Amya Kumar Ratha, sir, Madam Registrar, Director Curriculum, sir, Director CPJ, sir, Coordinator DC Rao, sir, and other faculty members and resource persons who are online. So, this is the first session. So, with the thanks to the coordinator of this FDP, I am starting my presentation. So I am sharing my PPT within few seconds. It will be visible to you. So is it visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
So this short-term course, that is one week online faculty development program on research methodology and grant writing. This is the session one. So these are the outlines where whatever things we will discuss. In this session, we will discuss introduction to research methodology, then definition, purpose, and scope of research, characteristics of research, type of research, research process, and project remarks of the session. And then there will be some question and answer session. So you see the assembly of pictures. Why I am showing you this? So you see in the top corner, left corner, there is a professor along with professor or maybe scientist with which three scientists or scholars are there. Those are particularly PhD students. So then he is describing something or explaining something to them. Then what happens? After that, the student is coming, and in his mind or in her mind, in her mind, many things are going on. When will be the work to be completed? Why this thing? My guide told me what to do. Who will help you? Where do I do a research, and how to carry out this work? Is it visible? Is it visible? My screen is visible, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Okay. So you see, so that's the slide issue. So sorry for that. So you see in the top, I'm repeating again, the scientist or professor explaining to the fellow colleagues or research scholars some facts or some assignments to be carried out. After listening that, the student is coming, and in his mind, you see a bulb like a thing. In his mind, many things are going on. What to do, why to do this, when will be completed, who are going to do, where we will do, and how to do. These things will go. Then she will go and search in laboratory and do certain things, and in mind many things are going on. And you may mind may burst. This is a scenario. If you are not going to a particular research, you see the other aspect. What the professor is doing after explaining, he is very calm and quiet, sitting and thinking that my student or my students are going to do everything. Then he is going to discuss with the DSC members. Then further assignment things are going on. So this is the research going on nowadays. So in this case, a particular research methodology or research scheme, you may say research methods are essential for carrying out a good research which will be completed within due time. That is the objective of this FDP. That's why our honorable vice chancellor sir and in association with our coordinator sir, we have planned this FDP for our faculty members of the university and other faculty members those are carrying out research work, also PhD. Then you see what how you see yourself. You have many dreams. You see, I have to complete PhD, go for a postdoc or go to get a good job, then earn money and many things you have to do. But what your professor see in you, they see that you are a only brain for them, and you have to execute or carry out his assignments or his research ideas through you. So that's why every time, everywhere, a systematic research is essential. So these are the basics of the this autumn course, along with the writing part that Sir will explain later with the things. So one thing I want to convey you that a systematic research is essential. Otherwise, your research program will not complete within the time frame, or you will have many other issues will there. So having said this, or with this background, I am starting the lecture, that is our session one things. First, as per our short-term course design is mentioned or curricula is mentioned, we have to know what is research. So you commonly ask someone what is research, it means search for knowledge, something new. Research as per dictionary term, it may be split in two terms. Research. Re means again and again we have to search to find out. So here what happens, it is a process where a person observes a phenomena repeatedly again and again, collect data, analyze the data, then find out inferences and go for conclusions. And then conclusions will may fulfill the objective, may not be fulfill the objective. Some objective will not be accomplished or completed during the research work. That may be shown in future scope of work. So in one line, you may say research is to observe different phenomena again and again for different dimensions. Then I am giving you a glance of definition of research by different authors or scientists, because research from different angles, or a scientist or a philosopher or a writer. This means variety of meanings that has been presented in the slide. So one scientist, Rust, who defined research is a point of view, which is an attitude or inquiry or is a frame of mind. Similarly, George Morley defined research as systematic and scholarly application of the scientific method intersected in its broader sense to the solution of social judicial problems. Then Cornell, according to him, to be sure, the best research is that which is reliable, verifiable, exhaustive. That is, research cannot be go unlimited. That means it should be exhausted with a sustainable time frame. Then Clifford Woody defined research as it is a carefully inquiry or examination in seeking facts or principles, a diligent investigation to ascertain something. Then forward, according to him, research is a systematic, defined technique of thinking, employing specified tools, instruments, procedures in order to obtain a more adequate solution of the problem than would, would be possible under ordinary means. Then why we go for carrying out research work? What motivates us? This slide indicates, this slide shows what is the motivation for conducting research. You see, first point is aspiration for getting a research degree along with consequent benefits. We people, particularly in India, we are going for a degree. For us, degree is primary thing. That's why, honestly speaking, people are going for PhD to get a higher degree, and to consequent benefits means to get a scientist post or to get a faculty member post. Then some people, like, they have some ambition or aim to face challenges in solving unsolved problems. Like previous days, you might have um, heard about the innovation of television. How the jailbird John Logie Boyd, how they have mm, sacrificed everything, his life, for innovating television. That is one ambition to challenge solving unsolved problems. Then some people get intellectual joy. That means some people carry out research and present their work in front of others in world frame. They have to get the name and fame. They would get intellectual joy. Then some people provide research for society, like NASA or various organizations. Those who are not gaining any money for that, but they are going for society of people, safety of our earth, everything. And last one, also, if you are carrying out the receiving a good degree or a good research activity, then you should have a respect in society. So these are the motivations for conducting research. Then next slide gives you a comparative thing between research methods and research methodology. So you see, in research methodology, we adopt research methods. So research methods are part of research methodology. So what are the techniques, methods we use for carrying out research? Those are called research methodology. However, research methodology is a systematic approach to solve a problem. So you must say it is science for studying how research is done scientifically. Again, if you go in detail, research methodology can be put into three categories. Like first group deals with collection of data. Then second group of methods which are used for analyzing data using different statistical and optimization techniques. Third group, we have to check or verify the outcome or validate data. So these are the different methods. There are many tools which will be explained in our FDP in upcoming days. Coming to a just different methods and techniques. Suppose one particular thing you take analysis of historical records. It is a method under library research. So what you do, what the techniques you adopt to give a brief idea and saying under a method we go for different techniques like recording notes. You have to go and record notes by asking peoples and you analyze the content. Then you also go record and film listening to the historical things because in historical analysis you will go to go and ask people in various sections, various geographical locations, and you go and collect the information and you record this. So these are the techniques and idea. Other things are illustrated in the table. So how methods and techniques are both are interrelated. It is shown in the table. Sometimes we may interchange both terms. There is no hard and fast thing that this is a method, this is a technique. Then, what are the general characteristics of research? So, as per our introduction section is going on, so just to have a glance about the different characteristics of research, you may say in research, you see it gathers new knowledge, data from primary sources. Then it also emphasizes discovery of general principles. It is also an exact, systematic, accurate investigation. It uses valid data gathering devices. It is logical, objective, and last, the most important thing is that the researchers should resist temptation to seek only the data support his hypothesis. Suppose you are assuming that all BPUT students are very good or they are very good students, that means you will only focus on good students and you collect data from the good students. No. So this is one type of bias. So that personal temptation you have to avoid in carrying out research. Then similarly, other things are researcher eliminates personal feelings and preferences. Suppose I do have affinity to this institute, CPGS, I may go and I may collect the data. That is personal feeling. Suppose I am preferring only to my branch civil engineering. That is also preferences. That should not be there. It endeavors to organize data in quantitative terms. Always, all the things in research should be presented in quantitative terms. That will be better for future validation. Research is patient and honorary activity. While doing research, we should not think that it will complete within a particular time frame. That means within our expectation, because there will be hurdles. In carrying out research, you might have some monetary problem, you might have some manpower problem, you might have some equipment problem that will come, that will be hurdles in your research activity. So you have to be patient in carrying out research. So always research is told, research is patient and on a hurried activity. Some scientists, some professor, I have forgotten his name to tell. So he has told the thing in a comic manner that your life sorrow or your sorrow of your life or your bad days are coming in after two times, after two things. Sorry, one is when you join PhD. Second one is when you retire for your job. That is your bad days will come. Bad days means your on painful jobs are there. But that is a common type of thing. Many people are enjoying research. and they are completing within the due time frame. Then next, the researcher is willing to follow his procedure to conclusions that may be unpopular and bring social disapproval. Suppose I want to please the society, or I want to show the things which are um, always accepted by people, that should not be there. Our so our objective is that to please, not to please. What are the fact we have to say? Suppose in a society, suppose a particular disease rising. Suppose number of person affected by AIDS is rising. We have to mm, demonstrate that. We have to publish that. We should not hide because our society or our area will be blamed. No, we have to always show the facts which are always true, not in pleasing some people. Then research is carefully recorded and reported. Always the research work should be stored in many places, in library, um, or the places in nowadays we are keeping in e-libraries or spaces or in web. Then conclusions and generalizations arrived carefully. Suppose whenever you are conducting experiment and you are getting absurd result, you may not say, you may not avoid that. You have to think that this result, whether it is matching out the literature or how much deviation that you think, and then conclusions will be presented. Next, what are the functions of research? So this slide talks about different functions um, to improve the research procedures through thorough knowledge, to aid to making a decision concerning the refinement and extension knowledge in a particular area. That means here we extend a particular work. Suppose nowadays people are going for extension of making new injections or new type of things for diabetics. People are the scientists or researchers are trying to reduce the consumption of pills, and they are going for one-time solution. So these are the extension of the existing research work. Similarly, whenever we do some research, we have some outcomes that will be written in terms of books, because after a lot of articles we published, those are be summarized and a book will be written that will be helpful for our classroom teacher, and those will be transferred to our student, to new generation. For instance, in 90s we had conducted lot of research on fly ash. The outcome has been reported. Nowadays, we are using fly ash in making bricks, roads, and we are avoiding the negative impacts of the fly ash. Still, we have to reduce its adverse effects. But thing is that that is the outcome of the 90s research, that the research had conducted in 90s. Similarly, now are using different waste material as tools, and materials in making different structures, and those are published in articles. And when the research will gain momentum and will have sustainable materials, those will be applied in the construction industry. Many things have been already applied and a lot of things have to be done. Then to aid social and judicial administrator to improve social judicial systems. So what happens? Our administrators also require some feedbacks from our research community. What to do? Suppose in a economic crisis scenario, they will ask the people who are doing research in finance, and they will give opinion, and those will be taken by the, or those will be considered by the government of different countries, and those will be helpful for making planning for those crises. Next, significance of research in various aspects. You can see advancing knowledge, innovation and development, problem solving, evidence based decision making. These are the advances we get from carrying out research or conducting research. Then social economic impact. Obviously, if you have proper research in different areas in social things such as mental health of people, if you have, then we can guide them. The research, the society mm, may be more joyful and free from violence, and we will have a good atmosphere in the country. Then to personal and professional growth, it is obvious somebody will do the research work, his mind and body will be motivated. Also, similarly, he will be appreciated by the different agencies, authority, or he will be promoted. Then continuous learning. Also, if you involve in research, then continuous learning will take place. People who are not conducting research, their knowledge is squeezing. They are not knowing, don't have any data of the whatever things going on in his area. So every time a person who is intending of carrying out research has to carry out literature review to update his knowledge in that area. Then preservation of cultural heritage. Those are the things because these are related to our archaeological things. Whatever things we can do for preserving our archaeological things, we have to go a systematic process so that the things will become things will preserved. Then coming to what are the criteria of a good research. So in a good research, it should be clearly defined. That means a good research means that is not every research, maybe some you may say some new innovation, but good means systematic, not that good bad in terms of work. So here the objective should be clearly defined and common concepts to be used. That means whenever you are reporting a research, the students who are going to conduct research in future, they can understand. Then a research procedure should be adopted that should be described in detail to permit the other researcher to repeat the research for the advancement, keeping the continuity of whatever things you have already conducted. Then the procedure design, sometimes you have to give some flow chart or logic, or you may describe the detailed method that to provide a yield result which are fulfilling objective. Also, you have to mention what are the assumptions you have taken and what are the constraints, loopholes in your design you have to mention in your research work. Then your research thing should be analyzed such a manner that the significance of the methods and along with the validity, reliability of data, check carefully. That means some fellow researcher will try to validate your data. That thing can be done. If it will be done, then your research may be in question mark. Conclusions, whatever you provide in your research article or thesis, that should be only on your work, not that whatever the people in literature they have provided, that will be reflected. No, whatever you have found and your research work has been achieved, or whatever your research has been obtained, that should be mentioned or that should be stated in the conclusion section, not rather a generalized statement. Other last thing is that suppose in a research fraternity or research community, what is the thing? when a new researcher, you may say a student, is publishing paper, he is writing his supervisor name because the supervisor is a experienced researcher or a already a renowned researcher. With his name, he is trying to enter in the research field. Then, after publishing some things, some articles, the new people again made will be experienced researcher. That means the research community has a greater confidence in researcher having more experience. That's why reputation and personal portion of integrity plays an important role in good research. And in general, if you summarize, a good research is systematic. That means step to step work to be done. There will be particular flow chart where work will be executed and step by step process how the work will be completed within the time frame. Then your research should be logical. In a logical approach, you have to carry out. And the last third thing, the research should be empirical. That means there will be some equation or some type of relationship that can be applied in future with another study area. And last thing, I am repeatedly telling you, a good research should be replicable. Suppose whatever the result you have given in your thesis or journal, that should be replicated. If someone will conduct that, those value must come. Then specific characteristic for research. So here you see a philosophy should be your basis of research. So nowadays, suppose we have COVID-19. So many people are going because we have to overcome that disease. So for any logic or philosophy should be there behind in research. Again, for philosophers or for authors, for them, research is insight and imagination. Third thing, research required interdisciplinary approach. You might have many examples. I should not have to tell anything. Suppose one instance I am telling, we are civil engineering people, we are collecting data and we are using the computer science methods or mathematical tools for finding optimum result. So nowadays research is interdisciplinary. One example, let us say, suppose you are going to study mood of a person or body language of a person, then what to do? You that may be a social science problem or humanity um, problem that can be done using data analysis or statistical tools or optimization tools. That's why research needs interdisciplinary approach. Because without mathematical tool, whatever the findings, only qualitative. To have a quantitative approach, he has to produce a data or you may say empirical result or optimized tool. Then deductive reasoning also we require. Then research should come out desire to do things better. Suppose we are having iPhone 6, 7, whatever may be. That may be updated to research work to optimize other features. Research is not exact, research is physical science. So whenever we are thinking something, that may not be exact. Suppose we are assuming that there will be biological feature or traces of human in Mars. That may not be. So it is always not exact. Suppose whatever things Bohr atomic theory, you have known, you have idea about Bohr theory. But Bohr, Dalton, they are have been told the theory has been modified. And research is not confined to specialist only. Research can be done by every, that maybe you may be a, it may be a radio mechanic, it may be a cycle repair, because they have to carry out or conduct innovations in the work. Suppose he will do something and create a new thing, that will be a research, new finding. Always we go for a research where inexpensive material used. Suppose we are going for testing satellite, physical testing. Before that, we conduct numerous models, thousand number of tests, models through computer. Then we go for physical testing, because in a physical testing we know huge amount of money will be invested. If it will fail, then will be huge amount of revenue loss. To mitigate that, there will be computer accuracy. For that, we have to go for number of number of mathematical tests. So that's why we always conduct this research in a inexpensive way. Then social phenomena, these are related to social studies. Then research is perhaps incapable of being dealt with empirical method. Research is based on dependence on causes and effects. Research cannot be a mechanical process, because in always any research process we do have human angle, because human will analyze and to get the outcome. Only mechanics, that means only computers will not conduct research. We people are the analysts, researchers, those are playing important role to segregate the outliers and make the proper inferences from the result. Next, the objective in new research, already I have presented before you. Just in briefly, you can say, to achieve new insights to a particular phenomena, to portray accurately characteristics of a particular or individual or group, to determine the frequency with which something occurs, which is associated to something else, to test a hypothesis of a causal relationship between variables. Then there may be theoretical objective, there may be factual objective, there may be application objective. Then research approaches. So you see, research approaches, that may be quantitative approach, qualitative approach. So in quantitative approach, what we do, 1 minute. So you see, in quantitative approach, 1 minute. You see, we always go for rigorous quantitative analysis in form of formal or tangible session. The approach again further divided into inferential, experimental, and simulation approach. So in inferential approach, we have to analyze a database from which to infer the characteristics and relationships of the populations. Then simulation approach, it involves we have to create an artificial environment with in which the relevant information data can be generated. Then quantitative approach, another, that means apart from that means three quantitative approach, there will be qualitative approach. Here we will study the body language, you may say opinions, attitude, behavior, and researchers' insight, thoughts, impression also matters in qualitative approach. Then coming to types of research. you see here application research, and you say based on application objective inquiry research may be categorized or may be classified. So you may say based on application research may be pure research, may be applied research. Similarly, based on objective research may be descriptive, it may be explanatory. Again, foundational research, explanatory research. Similarly, inquiry mode, quantitative research, qualitative research. So we will deal one by one in upcoming slides. First one is descriptive research. Here we conduct surveys and fact finding inquiries of different kinds. Here we have to know the state of affairs. That means here we have to, you may say, know the status of the existing work. One example I have given here. Suppose customer satisfaction survey. You have to go for what are the sentiments of customer toward the products. Similarly, for market segmentation research, target the consumers more effectively. Then trend analysis, evaluate the business performance. Then competitor benchmarking, measure the performance of against competitors. So these are the, you may say, in descriptive research we are focusing on fact finding things. Then analytical research. Here you use the facts or information available after conducting experiment, and you analyze those things to find out the critical inference or evaluation material. So here there is a comparison between descriptive and analytical research. In descriptive research, we see what is the absence rate among a particular group of workers. For the analytical research, how can number of complaints made by customer reduced? You see, one was descriptive, other one analytical. Then here feelings of workers, and second thing you see analytical part, how introduction of empowerment can be a threat by the department managers. So this way we have classifying the, sorry, we are strategizing descriptive research, analytical research. Then applied research or action research. Here, whatever our society needs immediately, we go for that type of research. That means, suppose any theory, any basic science research, pure research we are conducting, that may be not instant requirement of society. That may be useful for developing new theories, new equations, new mathematical models, but immediate attention required in applied or action research. For instance, COVID-19 problem or creation or development of COVID-19 vaccine, that is one type of action research or applied research. That is research to identify social, economic and political trends that affect a particular institution. Market research are examples of applied research, immediate application. So basic research, it may be dealing with the generalization of theory or formulation of theory. Suppose we have to know how temperature of alloy, how the change in temperature affect the properties of alloy. Similarly, study of simultaneous effect of neuronal activity on the brain. So these are the theoretical basic things we have to go, and we have to carry out research for writing books, articles, and it is required for knowledge sake or pure research. Research concerning natural phenomenon relating to pure mathematics are examples of fundamental research. Research studies, particularly human behavior, also examples of fundamental research. So there is a table indicating how fundamental research and applied research are differentiated. So here you see the second point. In second point, in fundamental research, scientific discovery that is coming under this. But here the application of technology. For instance, if you go and if you develop a new optimization tool in mathematics, that is coming under fundamental research. But when that tool is used for in civil engineering problems or mechanical problems, that is called applied research. In that way, I can explain the fundamental research and applied research. Then quantitative, qualitative research already I have explained. So in quantitative research, we go for any experimental study. But in case of qualitative research, it related to people thinking, thoughts. All right. The table indicates how qualitative research and quantitative research can be distinguished. Here you see in qualitative research, we are going for exploring ideas, formulation of hypotheses, theories. In quantitative research, we are testing hypotheses or theories. Here analysis done by summarizing, categorizing, classifying. But in quantitative term, we are using mathematical tools, statistical tools. In qualitative research, we expressed in terms of words, paragraphs, or like sentence in or in theoretical way. But here, quantitative research we express in terms of tabular forms, graphs. So in qualitative research, we go for few respondents. In quantitative research, we may have many respondents. So these are other points are there. I will share the PowerPoint with the participants and they can go through in detail. Then conceptual research and empirical research, because we are dealing with different types of research. In conceptual research, we only go for go for finding basic abstract idea or theory. Here you see, normally this type of research are conducted by philosophers, thinkers, and they are imagining things and writing, and how people will behave, how the body language people will affect the um, performance. Those are coming on conceptual research. For empirical research, suppose we take data for a particular area, we take the 10 years rainfall data and we predict a model, and we can say that for particular state, Odisha, or particular district like Sundargarh, we may have this type of rainfall in upcoming years. That is coming empirical research. But one thing is that empirical research confined to particular area or particular to study area, because we collect data and that may not fit in other country. Sir, any question or anything? Okay, let's continue. Then types of research, apart from whatever research we have discussed uh, mm, before this slide, other research can be field settings research, simulation research. We may go for historical research. This way we can divide. Then also we can classify research into two types: conclusion research and decision-oriented research. In conclusion research, the researcher is free to pick up the problem and redesign, and he proceeds and prepares a consider he wishes. But decision oriented, here we have to need the decision maker, and research in this case not free to embark upon. So suppose a company has given a specific task. That means here we have to fill up we have to complete his assignment, not that our study and we can carry out that. So again, uh, if you summarize the classification, then based on the level of research, sorry, level of basic research or applied level, then fundamental, action research, then longitudinal, cross-sectional, then basis of precision of research, experimental, non-experimental, nature of finding, explanatory, descriptive. So here exploratory research means here we go for literature review, survey, literature review, experience survey. These are coming under exploratory research. So literature survey, we collect the literature in different areas and we critically examine and we compare and we find out the observations and we also um, um, note or we can demonstrate, we can also depict the shortcomings in that means what are the gaps in literature that to be noted and carry out the new work based upon that. Experience survey, it is also most important thing. Suppose you are going to construct a building. Here you see, we have to go and ask a experienced engineer or experienced person how to plan it. Similarly, um, um, bidding tenders. Suppose you have to apply for a particular work and you have to participate in tendering process. You have to go and talk to those who have already participated, that what is the price to be quoted, what are the technical specifications we put, then whether these things are available or not, similarly product pricing. So these are coming under experience survey. Then inside simulating examples, because suppose you are using the just time in concept, what is the outcome that is coming under exploratory research. Then conclusive research. So normally testing of hypothesis research problem draws definite conclusions. It may be descriptive, it may be experimental. So descriptive research always find out the characteristic of particular respondents. For example, degree of use of television. This is coming under descriptive research. But experimental research, suppose you want to go for analyze the data using ANOVA, or you can conduct any experiment, physics experiment, and use statistical method you can adapt. Those are coming under experimental research. So rating of taste of a soft drink by respondents on scale 1 to 10. Those are coming under experimental. Modeling research already, this is similar to our simulation research. Here we go for symbolic model, we go for mathematical model or simulation model. For example, symbolic model, we can use regression equation. Mathematical model basically most deal with operational models. Then there are two things we have to understand: what is cross-sectional research, what is longitudinal research. In cross-sectional research, we collect data from different sources at a particular time, same time. Suppose you are collecting the population data on a particular day, sorry, rainfall data for a particular day of different districts. That is coming under cross-sectional data or cross-sectional research. For longitudinal means you have to collect the data of the same area. Source is same, but different days, different time frame. So this way cross-sectional and longitudinal research has been classified or categorized. Then exploratory and descriptive research. Here you see normally these are the different parameters where we can classify exploratory research and descriptive research. So here the main thing is that the exploratory research is not structured. Here descriptive is structured, and sampling process in exploratory research is non-cooperative sampling. We will talk in sampling, what type of sampling we have to do, and what are the steps in research process in upcoming slides. Uh, then findings, conclusion, tentative here, conclusive. So these are the points I will share with you, so you can go in detail. Then exploratory and explanatory research. Here the steps are mentioned in this slide. So here the classification has already done. I will share with you. Just we skip because other important things are there. Then coming to research process. In this FDP, we will cover all the things, but I would have a I would want to I would have a detailed layout about research process. So in research problem or research activity, there are many steps or many uh, steps. First one is formulating the research problem. Number two,
Business
extens extensive literature review.
yeah.
Sorry, pardon, whatever. Any problem, sir? Am I audible? Any problem? Okay, let us continue.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay, so you see in research process, we are having many steps. Or see, first one we have to formulate a research problem. That is most important thing. That may change, but not total change. There will be little bit deviation, slight deviation in the research problem after literature review. But initially, you should have a frame of mind that this is my research topic. Then, based upon the keywords, you carry out the extensive literature review survey. Then you develop the hypothesis. We will talk in detail hypothesis testing. We have a segment or we have a lecturer how hypothesis analysis, hypothesis testing are done. Then based upon that, to fulfill our hypothesis, we have to prepare a research design. That is most important thing. Then based upon the research design, we have to go for sample design. Then collection of data as per our sample design, analyze the data, use hypothesis testing, then generalization and interpretation and formal writing of process, and submit the report, paper, thesis, whatever your requirement. These are the steps of research process. So you see, first step is formulating the research problem. This is the most important thing in research. Many failure or many time taking or many elapsed research activities are because of selection of the proper problem, important problem. Suppose if you select a problem which is already done by researchers, already many articles are there and there is no novelty in that, then if you select that and conduct research, then your publications may not be accepted or your research will not be recognized. That's why you select a proper research topic. How to do it?
কি
You can talk with your
এই কথা পଚାରିବା
colleagues. That means,
ତମେ ଆଣିକି
please, please, sir, mute your mic, sir. Please mute your mic. Sir, please mute your mic. So here you discuss it with your own colleagues. Suppose you are a PhD scholar or you are a faculty, you can talk with your fellow students or fellow colleagues. Those having expertise in that matter. You are having same area with persons of similar area, you can go and talk to them and discuss with them. Also, you can talk with a person who is renowned in that area. Suppose you are working in a particular field, then search who are the renowned researchers, and you can communicate through email or you can talk to them through video call or any means of communication, and you find out the idea, and you can share with your idea, and then you can choose a problem that will helpful for you. Then sometimes like our DST or UGC, AICT, they have some earmark problems. Okay, some industries, sorry, industries and they have some problems like government organizations or so there the problem is already defined. That means that is easy to work. Already you do have the problem and you have to find out the solution. The main thing is that discussion through conferences or any academy meet among the research scholars. You may say research scholar day or research conclave. You go and participate, talk with different persons who are conducting research in that area, take some idea, then to sit with computer and internet and search those and sort the literature. Then you formulate your problem and consult the supervisor. That is the one way of formulating the research problem. Then there are two steps involving research problem. Understanding the problem thoroughly, then rephrasing. That means if you are using the particular optimum technique, then you change the technique and you find out the articles whether these are novel or not already done. Then you can talk with your supervisor, the most experienced person in your field, in your locality, because other experienced persons may not be with you, but supervisor is always with your proximity. So, and the most important thing is you have to examine all existing literature for selection of problems. There are conceptual literature, there are empirical literature. So you have to go across those things and identify your problem and compare with them, and you see how much novelty in your work. Then the second step is after you have a specific problem, then you narrow your area and you go for a literature review in your domain. Broad area to narrow area. Then you go for literature review. For this, you go for abstracting, indexing of journals. Okay. Then you go for different academic journals, conferences, government reports, books, through online or offline or library sources. You go to literature review and you list all the outcomes, and you should have an idea what is the probable outcome of the particular study you are going to conduct. That may be tentative. Then working hypothesis. Already I have told you there will be a detailed deliberation regarding hypothesis. But working hypothesis means we should have a tentative assumption. We assume that suppose this vaccine will influence the child mental health. Suppose we are giving one vaccine and we are having assumption. So what to do? Then we cannot directly apply on uh, on particular age group of children. What to do? We go and we first go for applying in animals or other creatures. If you find the there will be some effect, then that is our tentative assumption. All right. Then how to go for a hypothesis, working hypothesis? Suppose I assume that the change of temperature affects the characteristics of a particular tissue or biological cell. Then, how to you have the hypothesis, but how will you know that? I can talk with the different doctors, different experts in those areas. Then also we go for some records, medical records, also literature, also studies in similar studies. Then the working hypothesis I will assume. So working hypothesis arise as a result of prior thinking about subject examining the available data. Sorry, 1 minute. ना तुम जाओ. Sorry. So these are the things we have to conduct for determining or for determining the working hypothesis. That means we have to examine the available data, council of experts, and we can take the view of council of experts, interested parties, and all the relevant study data available in different sources. Then the next step is we have to go for research design. There are many ways of designing research design. So that will be also taken care in our FDP. So we know we do have different formal design like factorial design, Latin square design. So similarly, we need a design which is based upon minimal expenditure of effort and time and money. And with minimum experiment, we do have maximum information because every experiment, it may be a data analysis, data collection, or it may be laboratory experiment. We require manpower, time, money. So these are the constraints with us. So we have to go for a factorial design or fractional factorial design, responsible design, Taguchi method. These are different designs available. Based upon that, we carry out our research work. That's why research design plays also another important role in research process. The preparation of research design involves what are the means of obtaining information. You should know, second thing, you should know the ability of the skills of the research staffs, what are the research, your skill, also your staff engaged, the time frame of research, and cost factor. These are the parameters which are to be considered for preparing a research design. Then sampling design. Once you have the sample research design, we have go for sampling. Through sampling process, we have to go for data collection. So you know, whatever the items in the field of study, suppose we are going for analyzing the marks of the students of BPUT. All students of BPUT will be a universe. Suppose you would take a particular college or particular branch, that will be comes under sample. So if you take the data of all items in the population, that is known as census inquiry. Similarly, if items population, some items you choose, that is already I have told you sample, and you find the data which is indicative of the population. All right. So indicative of population. That means here our sample result or outcome should in line with the outcome of the population. Otherwise, the population is not indicative of the sample is not indicative of the population. So sample design also there are different ways of defining sample. Samples can be probable samples, non-probable samples. So we will go in detail in our sampling part. So probable samples means simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling. Similarly, non-probable samples are convenience sampling, judgment sampling, quota sampling. So this is the difference between population and sample. So population, already I have told you, all the items which will be under your consideration or study. Sample is the subset of the population. So measurement taken from the population is called parameter. Measurement taken by sample is called statistics. Then types of sampling. So first type is known as deliberate sampling. Here deliberate sampling means here we are going for purposive sampling. That means as per our convenience or as we are deliberately we are choosing some samples or items from the total universe or population. So deliberate sampling sometimes called convenience sampling. Again under that there is a judgment sampling. Suppose we think that this blue will give good product, then among all the population, these items we choose, that is my judgment sample. Then you know if you apply probability that we randomly we choose a sample or items for a sample, that is coming under simple random sampling. That is called chance sampling, also called probability sampling. So in case of finite inverse, has some probability sample being selected. You see the picture in the slide. Here you see we deliberately selecting these three among the all. That is deliberately purposely sampling. Then judgment sampling, you see, suppose these are many people are there. We are selecting a boy, a girl, a man and women. This is judgmental sampling. We know that these, if you take four, um, four elements of the total population, our objective may be fulfilled. That's why this is called judgmental sampling. You see random sampling. Here, randomly we are picking the elements. Random sampling.
ଆପଣ କେମିତି ଶବ୍ଦ ହଉଛି
Then here you random sampling may be simple random sampling, stratified sampling, cluster sampling, multi-stage sampling. We will go one by one, but if from the picture you see simple random sampling, we are simply taking one element anywhere. But here we are making, you see, we are making groups which dark colored are one place and light red colors are other place, and then we select the elements as sample. In cluster, we are making 3, then we are taking from one cluster. Then multi-stage, we from a group you selected a sub group, then another, that is a multi-stage sampling. We will discuss in the upcoming slides in detail. Suppose systematic sample. Suppose I want to go in an area and collect data of every 15th house or 10th house on a particular street. But I have taken 1, then 16, then 31 like that. That is systematic I have to go, that is systematic sampling. Then stratified means here we divide the area of study into different subpopulation strata segments and we select items from those. That is from stratified sampling. Quota sampling means suppose it is depends on interval judgment. Suppose I will take the uh, take the name of only 50 years 50 person who those are which are more than 50 years. Those are coming judgment samples. So this slide is, talks about or shows or depicts about how systematic random sampling done. You see, I have taken 1, then 4, then sorry 4, 8, 12. So this is the 4th participant in the selected. This systematically we go. Here you see we have first made entire population we have made 3 groups. Then from the stratum we randomly choose data. That is stratified sampling. Here you see what is the here is the quota sampling. Just somehow this slide has been altered because of the formatting error. Anyway, so quota sampling is just I'm just adjusting. So you see, quota sampling, you see, we are taking the male over 50. That is, it is our judgment. So we may fix a quota. All right. So what are the advantages and disadvantages? In quota sampling, it is easy to implement, but the risk is that we may not consider which is essential element of our study. That is the major risk, chance of avoiding or not taking. Then it is cost effective process, but there is bias. Here in quota sampling we may go for all key subgroups, but there is also time taken process because we have to choose that it is 40. We have to again study the data. This is effective for small population, but it is challengeful for when population is large. So these are the merits and demerits of quota sampling. Then cluster sampling. Here we divide the area into geographical clusters. Suppose we you see here we divide our country into different clusters. So for first step you see here we divide into area non-urban geographical clusters. Suppose 2 states, 2 districts where you can choose sample randomly. That is the cluster. That means where 2 locations will not overlap each other. The main thing. Then multi-stage sampling, already I have told you. First we go for collecting data of a whole country. Then we go for selection of state. We suppose 3 states. Again we go to a particular district or from a city you may say. Then from city you select college then data. So you see the slide how the data collection done in different stages. We make geographical subgroups and we find out the sample for our analysis or study. So you see population, how cluster sampling is done. You see how a bunch of elements we select different clusters based upon their symmetrical criteria. Then we collect data and we analyze. So here stratified sampling and cluster sampling has been differentiated in this slide. So here you see, here the main difference is that we divide in stratified sampling population to homogeneous segments and then we take sampling randomly. But in cluster means here we go for a cluster where all characteristics might be same. Naturally occurring groups, you may say, cluster. So here, in both cases, we take random sampling. So here, homogeneity within the group is stratified sampling. Here, between the groups. Heterogeneity between the groups, within the group. So these are the detailed description or the differentiation between two methods. I will save the slide. You can go in detail. Then sequential sample. Here you will see we have to go for, suppose we take n number of elements and we analyze the data. We found some results that should not mitigate our outcome. Then we again go for second type sample testing, third time testing, then sequential sample testing. Then after the sample collection, we have to go for, that means we have to think about how to collect data. So data may be primary data, may be secondary data. Data methods like by observation. Here you see in observation method, you just observe the person's intention, behavior, and here you should not interact with him in observation method. That means only we observe the behavior of person without any conversation with that person. Then personal interview. Here the thing is that you or your team member will go and ask some questions. These are particularly useful for our business or management type of human related type of research work. So difference is that in observation we do have limited information. That is body language study or what type of study, what type of suppose a customer is going to buy something in a shop. You only see what he's asking to the shopkeeper. You observe. You cannot ask for your requirement. But in case of personal interview, you can have the choice of asking through direct interaction. But the thing is that this is also sometimes they may be biased. That bias means the interviewer may not, and the person who is the person you are asking, he may not give the right answer. He may hide something. That is the main drawback. So telephone interview you can call, but sometimes many times reaching person through a telephone is difficult. By mailing questionnaire, the one method. To schedule. Schedule is important thing that will be discussed in data collection. Simply a set of relevant questions that will filled by the researcher, and your team member or person will go and collect data. So the main thing is that the researcher should select one of the methods based upon the consideration of nature of investigation, what is your objective, scope, what is the financial resources, time, and degree of accuracy. If you require degree of accuracy, you have to spend money, you have to engage more persons. But if you don't have that type of facility with you, then you have to think about alternate methods that will be less cost and less time consuming. Then the next step is execution of project. Execution project is very important to research process. If the project proceeds in correct lines, data to be collected would be adequate and dependable. Suppose you have collected data, somehow your team member or you miss some information. Suppose you are requiring 60 information, 60 points of a particular person, but you find that many observation, that means suppose observations, some points are missing. That means those data could not be assessed after the observation. That's why you are very careful. So during the project execution, you have to monitor your staff member who are collecting data. Sometimes you engage people for data collection, but the minute go, they manipulate, they can also aggregate the data. Without going to the spot, they can kill the questionnaire also. That's the main thing. And the execution project is most important thing in research work. Similarly, if you are going for a experimental data analysis, what is the environmental condition, what are the about the machine accuracy, that thing should be analyzed and monitored also. Monitoring is most important thing in execution project. Then after data have been collected, these have to be analyzed. Analyze required a lot of operations, and based on the type of data, we have to use different methods. We can use coding, tabulation, and drawing statistical inferences. Coding operation usually done when data is to transport symbols or maybe tablet into counters. So what happens? Suppose your data you have collected in terms of some marks, then you have to make it normalize. Normalization process is required. Then editing data sometimes is required. Suppose wrongly, suppose all data within the value of 20. Suppose all observation, all data for a particular research work within 20. Somehow you are thinking that somewhere one is 16, but wrongly he has written 61. You know 61 would not be there, but this is typographic error. That editing process you may allow, but that is not manipulation actually. So manipulation and editing, these are two different things. You have to be careful because this is technically speaking, it depends upon the area of research. Then tabulation is the most technical procedure because reading paragraphs, lines, it is a boring thing. That's why a table is very, very useful for us for illustrating our results. That's why tabulation plays important role. For a table, it can be easily inferred how the things can be changing or the variation trend of the particular result can be found out. So tabulation is most essential thing. In a statistical method, you can go for bar charts, pie charts, then many effect plots. Then we do have different trend lines, then interaction plots. These are useful for analysis of data. Then contour lines. So like analysis of variance, like one-way ANOVA, two-way ANOVA, or man ANOVA. Similarly, analysis of means. So these are the different techniques you can adopt. Nowadays also we have different optimal techniques are there. All things are useful in handling the data. Then I have mentioned some hypothetical testing, but details will be taught in our upcoming sessions. So test like chi-square test, t-test, f-test, normally useful in the statistical purposes. So hypothetical testing will result either accepting hypothesis or rejecting it. That will be detailed discussed in our upcoming sessions. So if you don't have any hypothesis to start with, what to do? To establish a basis of data. So you assume, suppose in literature there is no evidence of a particular trend. Suppose either increasing, decreasing, not affecting, there is no information. Then initially you go in general, it is increasing or decreasing or no effect. Any hypothesis you choose because there is no previous data. So generalization that can be done initially. Then the next thing is interpretation of results. Whatever the hypothesis result you have done, it may possible to build a theory. If the interpretation quite figure of new question, but you are going for a one way, you thought that the result will increase, but there will be deviation or increase, decrease. Then you have to change your hypothesis and analyze the portion. Suppose in a graph, for instance, for a graph, up to 10% adding a material increasing, then 10 to 50 decreasing, then increasing. Then you have to think why during the period, during the proportion 10 to 50, it is decreasing. That thing you have to check. You have to go and search using chemical composition or other analysis, other methods. Those things you have to go in minutely, microscopic level study you carry out and find out how this alternation is going on. So our assumption initially was increasing, but that is changing. So we have to again modify our hypothesis. So these are the things you will encounter, you will face when you go for actual research work. Then this is not in general, this is the report writing step. No, this is one type of guide how report writing it can be done. That is one part of a research process. So you see, in our FBP, there is a detailed session regarding how to write a thesis. All right. So, but I am giving normally in a report or thesis, what are the things? One part is preliminary pages where you see your name, title, acknowledgement, these things are there. Then there will be main text. Main text means main text can be the major part of our thesis. Then last part is bibliography. That is our appendices. Those are kept in last part. So in main part, that is the main, we might have different chapters or parts. Here I have mentioned 4. It may be different for different. So first one, introduction. In introduction, you may write background of study, then different terms you will study. All right. Then objective of a thesis. Then you organize a thesis, then summary. How your thesis organized? Chapter 1, chapter 2, like that you can write. Introduction. Then second chapter is literature review. In literature review, you write a small introduction. Then the article review. After review, you go for writing critical observation. That is, what are the finding, critical observation of the literature. Then what are the gaps in literature. Then you write a motivation because you do have number of gaps. Then the motivation, what motivates you to do research. Then you fill the objective and scope. Then summary. This is chapter 2. Chapter 3, you may have material methods, methodology, where also you are a student program. Then chapter 4 or 5, there will be result and discussion where you present your outcomes. All right, your outcomes, it may be 1 or 2 chapters. Then last chapter, conclusion. Under conclusion, we may have 3 parts. One is basic conclusion. What is the conclusion? Then what is the scope of the study, future scope of study, and the contribution made by author. These 3 things will be in the conclusion. So these are the basic things. It differs student to student, area to area, supervisor to supervisor, and institute to institute. So I cannot generally tell that these are things in a report, but in general, these are the component of the thesis writing. So normally, whenever you write a report or thesis, it should be concise and within your framework. You should not write the others' outcomes in majority portion of thesis, and you only report your outcomes. That is your graphs, tables, whatever account study. Maximum portion of thesis covered to that. Literature might be 10 to 20%, but other things relevant to your study. Then always you should have a charts, illustration. Okay, that should be in your thesis or report. Then last thing of my presentation, what are the problems encountered by researchers in India? So here we do have lack of scientific training. So that means one scientific research training. How a student will start that for that we are going for a FDP in our university. How to start the literature work? Many people are coming to us, sir, दोनों पेपर हो गया? We will say no that अरे पेपर हो गया तो वो relevant है या नहीं है? That's the important thing ना. So that's why how research methodology, how research methods or systematic research can be done, that should be a training. Nowadays, many institutions are going for that. So solution I have given, already mentioned on the slide, short duration intensive courses for meeting the training requirements. Then there will be no interaction between no means insufficient interaction between university research department. Suppose in a university, two departments may not interact. If you are going for interdisciplinary research, similarly, there will be interaction between university and government establishment. Alright, that's why nowadays a MOU or liaison between all concerned university, government, and research organization, industry should be there, and collaborative research work is promoted nowadays. Also, you might have heard that every university in foreign countries like Europe and USA, many business organizations are funding for their research work. But in our country, industries have business units have not so much of confidence. But nowadays that has been reduced. So in our research, that means people they are not sharing their data. Suppose if you go to software company, they will not share anything with you. They are very reluctant in supplying information to researchers. Suppose you go and ask in management, you are a management researcher, and you are going to collect data of the behavior of the managers or particular authorities in a corporate sector, office bearers of the corporate sector. But they are reluctant to disclose. The employees will not say. Then that's why we should have the researcher, the research unit should have a confidence that we will not misuse their data information. Data privacy is most important thing in this case. And also here we do have problems like inadequate infrastructure. Secretarial assistance, sometimes you may see files are pending. Suppose you are applying project, files are pending at different levels. Then we don't have computer assistance. Also library management, finding up softwares. So these are the issues which are with us, that is universities or research persons. That should be taken into consideration while thinking of the research and development of the country. So nowadays, government also organizations are working on that. So difficulty and timely, that means the timely published data guideline to researcher, that means assessing those research, because many data are password protected or not are available to the researchers. So those things, so suppose you are applying to those organizations or government organizations, that should be timely dispersed. Suppose I want the meteorological data or flood data or data from meteorological department of Odisha. But that if I get data after 6 months or after 1 year, then my project will be delayed. That's why whenever a researcher with undertaking or somehow some agreement asking for data, that process should be hastened and the data should be given to the researcher. So these are the some drawbacks, also some outcomes. Sorry, so some suggestions to mitigate that. So after uh, a near about 2 hours deliberation, these are my closing points for this session. So identification of the efficient research method.
Sir,
is-
Bibhuti sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yes, sir.
Sir, it is going to means your session is will be concluded by 5 minutes, sir,
Yes, sir. I'll
because
just.
there is another one session. Please
Yes, sir.
try to.
Yes, sir. So in research area or research method, identification or efficient research methods are key to successful research. Additionally, already I have mentioned many times, extensive literature review, extensive research literature review will guide the researcher to improve the knowledge and skills research. And the most essential thing, the vital thing, presentation of your data or outcome through journals, dissertations, conference proceeding, whatever you are working, whatever you are getting, whatever you are obtaining, that should be presented. Otherwise, it will be it will not recognized. Your work will zero. You may say go in vain. If it is not published, because research without publication has no meaning. With this word, I am closing my presentation. Any questions from the audience side?
Any participants they can ask their questions if any.
I think some messages are coming. Um,
Yes, there is Raja Rani is the moderator. Is he is present here?
some more questions are there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh, research interest. Okay.
Please go through the.
Okay, I have got, sir. I have got it. So some Rohit Kumar is asking, tell us about research interest. So particularly, if you ask me, my area is computer technology. During my PhD, I worked with nanomaterials. I have used recycle aggregates and nanosilica for making sustainable concrete in my PhD. Then after that, I have extended my work using blast furnace slag as aggregate. Then we have used ferrochrome slag aggregate. So that means around 32 SCI journals I have published in the waste management sector. So this is the my area of interest. Particularly, I am working in concrete. Our objective is to develop a concrete using the recycled materials. All right, these are the need of the society, because at a time We do have a lot of waste materials in and that calling and that causing environmental pollution. At the same time, we are lacking of natural aggregates. Resources are diminishing, depleting. So both are problems for us. So that's why the sustainable development and sustainable construction material means we have to use more and more waste materials in our concrete, concrete or road development or road construction, so that it will be mitigated these problems. That means you lack of raw materials and environmental pollutions associated with waste materials. So this is my area. Also, I'm working on water resource area, fraud management, and identification of groundwater. Suppose some my students have worked detection of groundwater potential zones. So without digging holes, because if you go for bore wells, you may fail. So using GIS and different parameters, we do have different parameters and we do have different techniques to detect the underground storage of a particular area. That will be helpful for groundwater exploration. These are the two areas, particularly water resource and structure, I am working. So any other questions, sir?
Some of them have raised their hands. They can ask their questions if any directly.
Sir, can I ask you a question, sir? Good morning, sir. Sir, actually,
Yes, yes, go ahead, ma'am.
I
Yes, go
have
ahead.
a
Go ahead.
question to ask, sir.
Yes, yes,
Can I proceed, sir?
yes,
Thank
go
you,
ahead.
sir.
Yes,
Sir,
yes.
how can one formulate a strong research question, sir?
Again, repeat again, madam. Just repeat again.
So, how can one prepare a strong research question?
Yes, that's the main thing you have asked. That is our objective of our FDP. So whenever you are going to work in some area, first
Yes,
you
sir.
select a broad area. Okay,
Yes, sir.
broad area you talk. Yes, you take a broad area.
Yes, sir.
Ask fellow researchers, your supervisor, and also renowned persons in that area. Then you
Right.
narrow the broad area into a narrow area. Then you get some keywords and rephrase those keywords, rephrase those keywords and formulate your problem. But it will take time. It is not done by 1 day or 2 days, because every day
Yes,
you,
sir.
papers are coming, articles are coming, books are coming in a relevant research topic.
Yeah.
So you have to go through detailed literature review, examine the examine it critically. What are the gaps? That means what part has not been covered. Particularly
Yes,
after
sir.
review of literature, you should have a section. What part has not already done? What to be done? That part you
Yes,
note it and go to your supervisor, madam. These are the things to be done. Then he will guide you. No, no, these out of this part is convenient within your 5 years or 2 year domain, that you do. That is the
yes,
main thing, because he or she will be your experienced researcher. That's why he's called supervisor guide. All right.
yes, sir.
So many
Yes,
aspects
sir.
are there: literature review, supervisor, fellow researcher. Suppose you are in IIT or NIT or any university, you are having fellow students. If you choose a
Yes, sir.
suppose in topic, if your student friends will tell, no, no, ये इसको मत लेना, ये बहुत difficult है, इसमें नहीं होगा यार यार. So somehow you get some feedbacks. Either you
Yes,
go
sir.
for facing challenges, or you can withdraw yourself, so that you can have a also you can have idea. That's why discussion with fellow researchers, fellow teachers. So this forms a thing for a good basis of a good research question.
Okay, sir.
If
Thank you so
anyone
much,
have
sir.
any more questions? So as the time is running to come to an end, I would like to express our sincere gratitude and heartful thanks to Dr. Bibhuti Bhusan Mukharjee sir for gracing us with their presence and sharing their valuable insights. So it was a very great session with you, sir. Thank you, sir, and will resonate with us for a long time. So thank you all the participants for joining this session. So at last, our next session will be start on the same link, so everyone can join in this link after 15 minutes. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, the coordinator Rao sir, and the moderator. Thank you all.